This is how you would make the type of buttons that I'm looking for on your midterm. I'm going to go over that procedure right now, starting with U on the keyboard for the shape tool. I'm going to make sure I'm on the rounded rectangle tool up in the top left. Also, you want to make sure that you have this button shape layers selected, and a radius of somewhere between like 5 and 8 pixels should be fine. And I'm going to change the style to none. And next I'm going to choose my base color for the button. I'm going to go with, let's say, orange. It can be whatever color you want. Something bright and primary would be good. I'm going to make a button about this size. That should be fine. Let's zoom in on it. Okay, first step over here in the layers panel, I'm going to go to blending options. And first off, I'm going to choose gradient overlay. I have to click it again to get into the options. Change the blend mode to multiply. Dim the opacity just a little bit. I'm going to go 40%. Should be fine. And next I'm going to add an inner shadow. I'm going to change the angle on the inner shadow to 90 degrees. And I'm going to change the color to white. Change the blend mode to normal. And use the following settings. Distance of 1, choke 0, size 0. Next, I'm going to add a stroke. And for the color, I'm going to choose a darker orange. And for the size, I'm going to say the size is 1. Okay. So that's what my button is looking like. Actually, this is what it looks like at 100%. So next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the, click on this layer. By the way, I'm going to name my layer button. Move it down a little bit. Next, I'm going to get the elliptical marquee tool and start a new layer down here. Create new layer. I'm going to name this glossy part. I'm going to make a giant ellipse and place it over my glossy part like so. Actually, I'm going to start over with that. Let's do something more like this. I'm going to place it over the middle of the button. And in my menu up at the top, I'm going to go to Edit, Fill. Fill with white. That should be fine. The next step is to press Command and Option, and click on the layer here where it says button. Click right there. That subtracts the selection from the part we need, and I can now hit delete. So I just deleted that part. Now I'm just going to dim the fill for the glossy part somewhere around there. And I'm going to add some text. I'm going to call this sign up. And I'm going to change the color to white. Move it to about right there. That looks good. And notice I'm using Helvetica Neue, condensed bold. I'm going to go one smaller on the size, maybe 2. You want to make sure you get your text to be a good size. And I'm going to change the blending options. I'm just going to add a drop shadow. Something like that. Okay. Now I'm going to hold Shift and click on all the layers and Apple G, Command G for group. So I just grouped everything into one layer. This will be called button. Next step, I'm going to duplicate that layer. So I have a copy here. I'm going to create a new layer, and holding Shift, I merge the new layer with the copy of the button. Command E for that. I'm going to call this reflection. And with the move tool, I'm going to move it below the button like so. The next step is to come down here and add a layer mask. So that adds this mask right here. And with the gradient tool, G on the keyboard for gradient, I can draw a gradient on top of the mask. And that creates the reflection effect. Now the cool thing is I can now, it's all in one piece, and if I want to, I can easily create different buttons with different colors using the same technique.